Hello, good people. It's your man LA Cheatham. Welcome to Watch the Game Sports on what is now a slow Monday due to the fact the NBA Eastern Conference Finals only went 4 games, and the Western Conference Finals only went 5 games. So quick work by the Boston Celtics and the gentleman sweep by the Dallas Mavericks as we get ready to give somewhat of a preview of the NBA Finals. But I want to welcome in my man Benjamin Banneker.
Yo. I'm feeling good. I don't know why I'm feeling good, but I'm feeling good. Maybe because Kyrie in it. I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling good though. My pick worked out.
Yeah, I didn't pick Dallas to be here, but I'm looking forward to the NBA Finals. Looking forward to them to be some interesting matchups. Some things about the NBA Finals going into it's fresh to see somewhat new faces. The Boston Celtics have been here before, so maybe them having this experience can get them over the hump. Many feel that they're a tad bit deeper than the Dallas Mavericks. But me personally, I think it's going to come down to matchups and pace of the game. How you feeling, Pen?
Man, I'm gonna try and take my Kyrie bias out of this to give you a give you an accurate assessment here. I actually don't think Boston is as deep as the Mavs of what they've been showing recently as of late. They getting contributions from Hardy off the bench. They got the big guys, Gafford. I know Gafford starts, but they got Lively off the bench. Maxi Kleber came back in game 4. So you got to think, some more games under his belt or get him back in game shape. Tim Hardaway Jr., he was a focal part of the rotation. He got hurt. He can't buy a basket right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in one game and he has just a moment where he hit maybe 3 threes or something to stem the tide or break away or something. So I look for him to have a moment. But yeah, I think the Mavs' depth is kind of being overlooked here, and I think this series is going to be a lot closer than what people think, because I think people still going on Boston won 64, 65 games in the regular season. They won every game by an average of 11.8 points a game, something like that. They walked through the East, but they ain't play nobody at full strength. So I don't think people are really looking at the Boston Celtics and really how underwhelming they have been in the playoffs. And they just assuming Jason Tatum, Boston, 18th championship, let's just give it to them. So don't sleep on
Yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The thing about it is when I say matchups, it's talking maybe we're talking about Kyrie being able to create his own shot, get to spots, and play make as well for Luka Doncic as well because these two teams are built up sort of different. Dallas have shown the ability to play a little bit of defense most recently, and they feed off the role players. They feed off the creativity and the playmaking ability of Kyrie Irving and Luke Doncic. But on the other hand, with Boston, they're coming out of a series against the Pacers where that those games were played at such a high pace. And when you think about it, Boston probably should have lost 3 of those 4 games. So it was a funny looking type of sweep. It was a really competitive sweep, if you want to say that. But when you, I'm just considering the fact that um, the 2 teams have went up against very different opponents in their last rounds of playoffs. Whereas um, Dallas went up against Minnesota. They saw a lot of isolation basketball because of the lack of ability, the lack of adjustments on Minnesota's part. And then Minnesota at times wasn't as good as they could have been defensively when you talk about defending pick and roll. Luca and Kyrie were able to kill them on that with the pick and roll quite often. And Dallas, like I said again, showed the ability to play good team defense. And can they match up with the pace that Boston can play at? Considering that they just coming out of the series with the Pacers, so it's going to be come down to matchups and pace. Can the Dallas Mavericks make Boston play in half court, and can the Boston Celtics defend the pick and roll? Also, Porzingis may be back. Will he slow the Boston Celtics down when you talk about pushing the ball with pace? Will that be a tactic that will slow them down? And will Porzingis be able to protect the rim when you think about Kyrie getting to the rack the way he was able to get to the rack against Minnesota at times? He kind of broke that defense down from time to time. Luca shooting from the logo. You know what I'm saying? What about Boston's perimeter defense? Like I say, so many different ways to look at this matchup when you talk about pace and just the personal matchups on the floor. It's going to be really interesting. That's how I see it.
I think something else we gotta bring into consideration too is how does Jason Tatum play? If he settles a lot for them sidestep threes and step back threes that he falls in love with taking, this series I think is gonna be over quicker than people think. Um, I get Dallas got the two big guys that can rim protect and whatnot, but if Jason Tatum is attacking, because I feel like Jaylen Brown will attack, but if Jason is attacking too, they can get them guys in foul trouble, and that alters Dallas's whole defensive rotation and their whole scheme on how they want to approach things. So is this series to me, I don't even think it's that complicated when we break down is Porzingis coming back or what he. If Jason Tatum goes out and is clearly the best player on the floor, which I don't think he is. I think it's Luca. If Jason Tatum can come out and do that and not settle, I think Boston will win the series. I just Jason Tatum is what 7, 8 years in now. I think we know we're gonna get from Jason Tatum, and he's gonna do that again this finals. Remember when he's in the finals the last time versus Golden State, he went cold, and he has a tendency to go cold in playoff series. He'll give you a game or two where it's like, damn, Jason, why you shot 19 times and only hit 4? And he'll just keep launching them up like that. So if he can limit that and have all, decent games, his worst game is a decent game, and the rest of them are Jason Tatum superstar games, then I think Boston can come out on top on this. But it really just comes down to that with me because he settles too much and he bails the defense out. And it's going to be a better version, I think, of what Dallas faced in Minnesota. Minnesota was too young. They wasn't probably ready for that spotlight. Cat, for all his shortcomings, he was 4 out of 32 at one point. I don't think anybody on Boston to shoot that cold, but it's just it's on Jason Tatum's shoulder. It's your championship to win. This is your time to say, you know what, I'm one of the top 5 best players in this league, bar none. You could really put me in the top 3. But if he doesn't, then hey, the Mavs will be raising another banner in the American Airlines Arena Center or whatever it's called.
Well, now it's interesting that you said a lot about Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown is coming off being the most valuable player in the Eastern Conference Championship.
And the reason I did is because I got more faith in Jaylen Brown doing what he needs to do instead of falling in love with that 3-point jumper. That's my knock on Tatum. He settles too much.
Yeah, I understand that too because that was another one of my points for shot selection. And
Yeah.
when I think about shot selection, I'm questioning Boston's shot selection. They like to take a lot of threes. I think they're the highest scoring team in the league, and they like to take a lot of threes. And the crazy part, I think they're considered one of the best defensive teams in the league as well. That's kind of odd to have a team be considered good on both ends. To be the highest scoring team in the league, and then one of the better defensive teams in the league. So what that tells me is you might be turning the other teams over quite a bit, getting easy points. You know what I'm saying? Not so much your rotations, but just your own ball defense might be pretty good. You might be able to play the passing lane a little bit. Might be getting a lot of defensive steals, easy layups on the other end. But and then that just goes back into pace. If this thing is up and down the floor, I don't know if Dallas can play that way because
Yeah,
I question if Luca can play that way and be effective. Uh,
right.
he he's already been playing with some of a banged up knee. He's got that cherry on that coming through the leggings, the blood cherry
Yeah,
in every game. And if this thing gets to be a racehorse style of game, can Luka Doncic keep up the pace, or will Dallas have to go deeper into that bench that you mentioned earlier? I mean, both of these teams are about 7, 8 deep. So, but when you look at the experience factor, Boston has the experience because you have Drew Holiday. He's got a championship, and and we talked about Boston being here once before already, so they should be primed and ready and know how to win the championship. But the downside is they have not really been pushed in the playoffs, and the Dallas Mavericks are coming in here with an East Coast mentality.
yeah,
That old school East Coast mentality. They don't play like a typical Western Conference team unless you're talking about when Kyrie can get out on the break and find a guy to finish at the rim or something like that. But I know I told you a while ago, and many people that listen to us that I really don't care to watch Luca play basketball,
yeah,
but I've come to appreciate the Dallas Mavericks team defense, and it puts the onus on him to participate and play defense as well. And when he plays like this, it's a lot more impressive. Like, I got this thing about NBA basketball games Tuesday night in February. And right now the Dallas Mavericks are playing like they want to win a championship. It kind of came out the blue
right.
on
Yeah,
everyone with this. You know what I'm saying? Took OKC out, and then they took out Ant Man and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that was just like you said, them being young, lack of adjustments. And when you think about the coaching matchups, Jason Kidd, and I forget the coach's name in
Joe
Boston. He's
Mazzulla, I
Joe
think.
Mazzulla. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now he's a little bit on the young side as well, but he's been there.
yeah.
And
To the conference
uh,
finals at least.
yeah, yeah, he. Wait a minute. Wasn't Joe? Was Joe Mazzulla the coach when they went? He wasn't
That
the
was
coach when they went to the
that
finals.
was
That was
Ime.
Idoka.
Yeah, Joe's
Okay.
first year was last year when they lost to seven to the Heat.
Okay. Okay. So now Joe Mazzulla going into his first finals. Jason Kidd going into his first finals as a coach. But there's an advantage. Jason Kidd, Kyrie Irving, that's the brain trust of the Dallas Mavericks. So
Hmm.
I don't know if you want to give them the edge. It's hard for me to pick. It's really hard for me to pick. I'm just glad that we're gonna see maybe some contrasting styles. Styles typically make fights,
Yeah,
and these matchups in the pace of the games will determine how this thing plays out.
yeah. And I've said it many times. I'm a Kyrie guy, but when you just take it to who do you trust more? I trust Jason Tatum to settle because that's what he's shown me over 7, 8 years. I trust Luca to control the pace because that's what he's shown me for the 5-6 years he's been in the league. I'm playing this way. I'm not gonna be sped up, and we're playing like this. We
Yeah,
playing at this pace, and I trust Luka to play more that way because we ain't seen Luka play no other way other than that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
he's going. He hasn't been dominating the ball as much this year, especially in the playoff run, especially with Kyrie on the squad. But it's it's gonna be low 100s. I don't expect any game to get in the 120s.
Oh, it's interesting that you say that because these two teams, the typical East Coast West Coast matchups through the regular season, they play each other twice.
Before
One
the
home,
trades.
one away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So on January 22nd, the Boston Celtics um, defeated. I mean, yeah, they defeated the Dallas Mavericks 119-110. That was on January 22nd, and on March the 1st, they defeated the Mavericks 138-110. So they they've been keeping the Mavericks at 110 points. I mean, on the head each game, but you predicting it be maybe a little bit lower scoring.
Yeah, if we would look into the schedule in depth, we can break down like, well, how many games had Dallas played that week? Was it a back to back? All that kind of stuff. We all know it's different when we locked in the playoffs and we playing every other day. A lot of times we don't see games get that lopsided or that out of control. So for the Boston Celtics to beat the Mavs by 28 points, and I don't think I know the trade that happened in that second game, but I don't think like some of the key contributors for the Mavs play. I had to go back and look it up. I think I heard that on First Things First. I think Nick Wright or somebody said that, but I'll go back and check it out. But yeah, I think this thing is going to be. I can't imagine seeing anything over 115.
And now that I'm sitting here thinking, I'm looking at the matchups. Drew Holiday, Derek White. Oh man, they could play a major, major, major part in this series if Jason Tatum plays with slow the pace down a little bit and let those guys run the team, run the offense. They can be weapons. Derek White, Drew Holiday. Now here it is. They got so when I'm looking at it, you got four playmakers against two. When you think about it, because Holiday is capable of making a play, Derek White's capable of making a play, Jason Tatum's capable of making a play, Jalen Brown's capable of making a play. You know what I'm saying? For someone else. Uh Christoph Porzingis, we don't know how effective, how healthy he's going to be for this series. Al Horford, what role is he going to play? Is he going to shoot 12 threes in any given game? You know what I'm saying? It's going to come down. He's got a battle with those young guys. He's got a battle with Gafford now. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Is he going to be? Is it going to be a battle around the rim for him? Which I doubt. And then then at that point you get to dig into Boston's bench. If Porzingis is healthy, they may be fine. But I think what's this kid's name? Luke Komet, number 40. This was
yeah,
a guy that I seen big. I think he's a 7 footer. He may see some minutes because dealing with they have enough bigs that could maybe wear down Gafford because Gafford is the biggest guy for Dallas. I think PJ Brown's 6'7". I think Derek Jones Jr. is about 6'5". So that
PJ
length,
Washington, PJ Washington, yeah,
yeah, PJ
yeah,
Washington. Derek Jones is about 6'5", and PJ Washington is about, like I said, 6'7". So Daniel Gafford is 6'10", so he's going to have a lot of length around him, both attacking the rim and posting up around the rim, depending on how they play Al Horford. I think it'd be smarter for them to try and bang at Gafford to get him off the floor. You may take a little bit away from that pick and roll game on the other end, but I have not mentioned Lively. He's a little young in this series, and he got a little banged up against Minnesota. But we'll see if the young kid is ready, man. But Drew Holiday and Derek White, I cannot go without mentioning those guys. And you mentioned Tim Hardaway Jr. So they may have to dig into the bench a little bit more um for the Dallas Mavericks. Um, I don't want to, but I'm gonna make a pick, and then I'm gonna ask you a question because it really doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna pick the Celtics in 7
Okay.
because I just think the Celtics to give the Mavericks a chance, even though they may have a few advantages in the matchups. But I think I'm gonna get, and then they got that last game, game 7. Then they got the benefit of the scheduling, which if they're gonna push the ball with pace, I think the schedule works out better for Boston if they just want to push the ball with pace. Um, on the rest side, as far as rest is concerned, it might work out better for the Mavericks because of, I don't know if Luca's in the best shape. I don't
He
know if
he got an ankle
Kyrie.
and a knee.
Yeah, so you know, this is where the final scheduling might benefit both teams for whatever reason. Well,
Is it Tuesday,
Boston
Thursday, Sunday?
right now it's Thursday, Sunday.
Uh,
Those are game 1 and game 2, and I'm not sure about the rest. I've written it
okay.
down somewhere, but um, looking at the schedule, if they're gonna get 2 and 3 days rest between games, both teams can benefit, but for two different reasons. I think Minnesota, I mean not Minnesota, but Dallas may need to rest their legs, and Boston can load up for pace. If you get what I mean, we can keep pushing it because we fresh enough to do so. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Boston in 7. So now the thing that gets me about basketball, year in and year out, is after the finals there's this big debate on who the best player in the world is. And it's been said over the past year or two, it was Nikolai Jokic. And now, if the Dallas Mavericks win, they're going to say it's Luca.
Hmm.
But what if Boston wins? Can you honestly say that Jason Tatum is the best player in the world? Can you honestly say that Jalen Brown is the best player in the world? Is
No,
Jalen Brown the best player on the Celtics?
that won't be the narrative for them. That won't be the narrative at all. If the Celtics happen to win and one of those two gets Finals MVP, they won't be talking about them as best player in the world. And I think one for Jason Tatum, if we was gonna say that about Jason Tatum, we would have been saying it already. He's
Yep.
too deep in his career. Like I said, I think it's year 7 or 8. That boat has passed for him. We don't even. It's hard to say Jason Tatum is a definitive top 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
So it's and then the whole thing was saying Joker is the best player in the world. I get it. He was on the Mavs. He was on the Nuggets and they won the championship. But what about the year before that? They didn't win the championship. All he did
Yeah.
was get the MVP. Uh,
Hmm.
you can't look at me and tell me that just head up, straight up, that Joker is a better basketball player than Joel Embiid. You just can't do it. I'm not going.
From certain aspects, he is. I think he's more skilled than Joel Embiid, and he might be better coached than Joel Embiid because I mean he just gets in and out of situations better than Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, it seems like since he came up out of Kansas, he's gotten so far away from some of the things that he was good at coming out of college. Like when he came out of college, his footwork was really, really nice. He was almost they was comparing him to like Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, I
And it's
remember.
like he got to the NBA, he fell in love with the face up three. And I mean, I know he's injured. He's seen a few injuries in his time, but his footwork is just he's it's like him and Carl Anthony Towns. The footwork is just not there, and they don't post as well as they should. And so I don't really get too. I've seen the best ever, which
Me
is
too.
Michael Jordan.
Jeffrey
I've seen
Jordan.
the
You know
best
it.
ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I appreciate what LeBron has been able to do in his career with his ability to pass the ball and be and just be
Still be playing.
available.
Yeah.
Yeah, be available at his age and to play as long as he has and to be effective. But there's no one in the league right now that I can look at and say he's head and shoulders above everybody in the NBA. I mean,
It's yeah.
I haven't felt that way about anybody in a long time. I mean, so right now, I don't feel that way about Joker. I don't feel that way about Luca either. Because on any given night, hell, James Harden can do a lot of the things that Luca Doncic can do. But
And
James Harden, much like Kyrie Irving, up to this point, at time to time, have had some distractions that take him off the floor where you don't get the consistency. And when we talk about, let's talk about Kyrie Irving for a minute. All the Jalen Brunson talk going into the Eastern Conference semis, and he was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but after watching Kyrie Irving, yeah, man, Kyrie still got it.
I
He
mean,
still got it.
he been had it to me, and I get in arguments about this all the time. I think Kyrie is a better basketball player than Steph Curry, just meaning he can do more things to affect the game. He has more ways to score than
Yeah, he's
Steph.
not as
Like,
good a shooter, yeah, but
right, but
he's got more in his bag. He can do, yeah. hmm
exactly. So, and
hmm
that's
And
so.
Steph's a hell of a playmaker as well. But I see where you're going from. I know where you're going with that one.
Yeah, yeah. Just the whole Kyrie slander. Like, it was a lot of off court stuff that was overshadowing what he was doing on it. Because remember, after he came back from COVID, hadn't played an NBA game all year. His first game, he came out there and got 28. Ain't played a
Yeah.
game. Like, you don't just do that. Like, this dude
Mm.
is special. So I mean, he getting his flowers now, and I'm glad he is getting his flowers, but let's not half step and let's not front like Kyrie ain't been doing his thing the whole time been in this league. You just didn't like some of the things he was doing off of the court. The COVID
Yeah.
situation, the retweeting, the anti-Semitic
hmm
what is it, movie or whatever he did, you know.
Yeah. He really has been misunderstood. He's confused a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I think and sometimes he has gotten some unfair criticism when it comes down to some things politically and as far as his stance on the vaccine and stuff like that. You can go wherever you want to go with that. But when you just get back to basketball, man, he still got it. He still got it. And maybe all the time off is like kind of saved his legs up to this point. I don't know, but I like
Yeah,
I like I like what Kyrie's doing out there right now. So he making a lot of people eat their words, man, and apologize. Yeah, to be
Stephen
honest
A
with
was
you,
one of them. Yeah,
yeah,
Stephen A
yeah.
was one of them. Yeah, Mavs in
So
6 though. Mavs in
okay,
6.
you got
Yeah.
Mavs in 6. I got Boston in 7. I believe by the next time we talk to the people, it'll be 2 games in at least.
At least, well,
Yeah,
we might go on before game 2 because game 2 is Sunday.
yeah, cause I do want to get with the season ending, I do want to see if we can get a little bit more traction into the onto the channel and onto the platform just to get us ready because the big thing is football
Oh yeah, we gonna be ready. We gonna be
and
ready.
just getting comfortable back, getting the chemistry back here on WTG, watch the game sports. I've just thinking about this project. I got some things that I really want to stay committed to, and just being on with some consistency is one. So if you've been able to check us out tonight, thanks for joining us. But to wrap up, um, just a few things outside the box. So of course, we hyped up for football, and my hat goes off to those content creators that could talk about football at this time of the year because it's practice. It's practice. And And my hat goes off to those guys. I mean, once you get to the draft, there's so much anticipating getting ready for the NFL draft. And then once the draft comes and goes, you kind of look, depending on what team you root for. We root for the Bears, and I got some questions about some of the moves the Bears have made. So I'm in prove it mode. I think I told you that with the Bears organization. So, but they've been really excited about Caleb Williams, and I mean they had some good days and some bad days, but it's practice. Like I say, my hat goes off to those people that can cover this stuff in the off season because it doesn't matter. It matters,
but it don't matter.
but it don't matter until we get to the season. So
Right.
many things can happen. Like I say, my hat goes off to those people that can talk about football this time of the year. So since we're talking about football, let's talk about the people that are actually playing football games.
The
And that's
UFL.
the UFL. They are down to the conference championships. I think on Saturday, let me see what I got here. On Saturday, your Michigan, what's
Panthers.
they Panthers at 7-3,
Yeah.
they are going to take on. You remember Angel Martinez, quarterback from the University of Nebraska?
Yeah, I saw him out there. I saw him out there.
Yeah, they taking on the Birmingham Stallions on Saturday. It'll be 3 p.m. Eastern time. Check your local listings. I want to say it's on. I think it's on ESPN. I'm not sure. But then on Sunday, now these the conference championships. So I guess it's win one and you go straight to the championship. These teams only play 10 games a year, 10 games, and and on Sunday the San Antonio Brahmas, I think that's how you
Yeah.
pronounce it. They are going to St. Louis to take on A.J. McCarron at the St. Louis Battlehawks. Both teams are going into Sunday's matchup at 7-3. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try and watch. That's the best I can tell you.
You go see. Here's the thing. I'm not even gonna make that bold of a statement because I
I'm
catch
gonna
it
try.
sometimes. FS1 they replay the games late at night. So when we be doing that graveyard shit, if I throw it on just to see what's
Yeah.
how the product looks and all that kind of stuff. But my thing with the XFL is,
Just the UFL.
oh my bad,
Yeah.
UFL
Mm-hmm.
is where they getting these fans from. Because we just talked about, seriously, we just talked about how these content creators are talking about NFL practice. So where are they finding 10,000 people to show up at these games? I'm convinced they paying these people to come in. Like the secret shoppers that they have. They got secret fans, and these fans are on some type of email list, and they say, come to the game. We'll give you a jersey. Just come be loud. You get 2 free drinks. I'm convinced. Because there's no way, it's no way that we talking this much about NFL OTAs and practice, about stuff that it matters, but it don't matter. And we got real live football, and these people are actually at the game cheering. It's no way. It's no way.
Listen, let me lay this on you since you brought that up. Think about it like this. Birmingham Roll Tide. They
Right.
love football.
Yeah.
No professional no team in the NFL. Okay.
What you mean? The Crimson Tide is a professional
But
football
but they're
team.
not playing right now. So what I'm saying is no NFL team to root for. It's football and it's Birmingham. And they're 9-1 with Angel Martinez as quarterback.
Okay, let me put it to you
And
like
then
this.
Michigan, okay, now I can see Detroit because that's where the Michigan Panthers play their game,
Right.
their home games at Ford Field. So with the success of the Michigan Wolverines and the most recent success of the Detroit Lions, might be a tough draw. You know what I'm saying? They might be a little football drunk. Just don't know. And they just had the NFL draft, so they might take it a little bit for granted, but it is the Michigan Panthers. So I mean, now
It,
when you go
it,
to,
go
there's
ahead.
no football in San Antonio.
Okay.
No NFL football in San Antonio. And when the Rams go to Los Angeles, there's no football in St.
Right.
Louis. So when you think about the locations of the teams in which are playing, that maybe that's where you get your interest because there's no NFL football team in that market. So and then like with the exception of Michigan. So maybe that's the reason why you can draw the people. You know what I'm saying? And that brings up another thing with WNBA. We can close out on that.
Well, let
So
me
we
just.
can finish
It,
up on this UFL thing
yeah,
first.
if you in St. Louis,
Yeah.
you got no professional football team,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody comes up to you, be like, "Hey, I got these free Battle Hawk tickets.
Yeah.
Are you going?" Because my first response is gonna be like, "The Cardinals playing. I can go there."
I feel you. I feel you.
I'm
You
not
might have
going.
you might have a point there. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't got tickets to the Cardinal game, so I might, I
You might
might
just
go.
go.
I might just go see the battle. I mean, AJ McCarron is one of my, favorite backups. You know what I'm saying? So the market of AJ McCarron, I go check out AJ. He's playing pretty good. He got him at 7-3 in St. Louis, but and Angel Martinez, a young guy, and you talking about the spectrum being in two different areas for these two guys because Angel Martinez, he's still relatively young. He could probably still end up in the NFL. And my question is AJ McCarron still good enough to be a backup in the NFL? But nonetheless, they got their two teams playing for the championship of the UFL, and they playing football games. They are actually playing games. So we are doing our best to talk about it. You
50
know,
50
as irrelevant as
$52.
it may be, we talking about
$52 for Battle Hawk tickets for the
it.
conference championship game. I just looked it up. I want
Hey,
to see.
hey,
And it's the 400 level. Boy, they wow.
hey, man. Hey, hey, moving on up. Now, you talking about ticket prices. We got to talk about the WNBA. And then we're going to close with that. WNBA. We started off talking about the NBA finals. That's what this is all about. We waiting on them to play some games. You know what I'm saying? And I've had a chance to watch some WNBA. I checked out the Sky and the Fever, and I checked out a little bit of the Liberty and the Fever. And Caitlin Clark is having a rough start. Let me say this: the WNBA, for what it's worth, is a really good brand of basketball. A really fundamentally sound brand of basketball. They play hard. There's only 12 teams in the league. So that tells you how good they have to be in the league.
Hmm.
12 teams is now it's good basketball. And then they want to piggyback off the fame of Caitlin Clark. But the thing is, when you talk about ESPN, they have they have made this Caitlin Clark thing a promotion for well over 2 years.
Hmm.
Okay, it started last season, so maybe a
This
whole
year.
year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe at the end of last NCAA women's tournament, we knew about Caitlin Clark going into the championship game, and they taken Angel Reese and they've taken Caleb Clark, and they tried to make it the Magic Johnson Larry Bird thing. That's what I think they're trying to do. But the two things have happened. I don't know if you caught it, but Angel Reese got thrown to the floor. I forget
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
lady's
yeah. I
name that
saw her
threw her
talking about
down.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Angel Reese get thrown down twice. Okay, in the game. Okay, now I guess it's been maybe a week or so later. Caitlin Clark has been fighting through screens, getting banged up, stuff like that. They're showing the physicality of the league, whatever. But it's like now they're making, and I don't get me wrong, I'm not in favor of rough house basketball. I want to see teams play defense, but all the hooking and pushing and shoving, we don't need that. Okay, we don't need that. Just slide your feet, contest the shot. That's all I need to see. Show me some effort. But most recently, people like Colin Cowherd, and I enjoy watching Kyle Hurt. But he made a point to that the WNBA need to lighten it up for for Caitlin Clark. No, no, because then you're gonna talk. They're already people already question whether or not things are rigged.
Right. Correct.
So you
Correct.
can't just make it easy for anyone. Now, to the credit of the rest of the competitors in the WNBA, so Caitlin Clark is on the floor. You want her to see your best in order for her to be declared the best. So the only way she can be the best is by being the best and going up against the best. So watering down the schedule and softening up the league doesn't work for me. But the pushing and shoving, I don't agree with that. But it's not powder puff
Right.
basketball. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? It's good fundamental basketball. And you probably have not watched as much as I have, but Caitlin Clark has been dishing it out a little bit as well, but they're not talking about that as much.
Well, she
And
was
and
doing
that,
that in college, though. She been
y-
pushing
y-
out
but
since she been in
but
Iowa.
and see that's the thing. They don't talk about that as much. So if you're going to promote the athlete, demonstrate the style of play. It's a physical game. The women play physical basketball, and I can appreciate it. But like I said, when you talk about the pushing and the shoving, and there's going to be trash talk. I don't have a problem with that. But watering down the schedule and softening up the league and cheap calls and phantom fouls, which is I'm not gonna say I've seen phantom fouls, but I did. I did see Caitlin hook. She hooked Tippy. And if you don't know who Tippy is, that's
Yeah, I
Dana
know Tippy.
Evans,
Yeah,
point guard of the Chicago
the
Sky.
Sky. Yeah,
Gary Indiana's own.
that's why I
I'm
know
dropping
Tippy.
names.
Yeah,
I'm dropping names, okay? Now, come on, man. They gotta call it tell the whole story. Don't That's the problem I got with gossip sports.
but
Because a lot of people on social media they can tell it like it is, like us, but the people like the ESPN and the Fox Sports, they got to tippy toe around it so that they won't, you know, hurt the product, I guess.
right. Yeah, it's very clickbaity, and they understand that they trying to promote this thing and grow it. But I just look at it from the standpoint of every great player that, and you can probably speak to this more than I can because I was young when Michael Jordan came in the league. The red carpet was not rolled out for Michael Jordan. That's why
Mm-mm.
Jerry Krause went and got Charles Oakley to be the enforcer. You
Yeah.
remember Jordan getting froze out in the All Star game. That's one of the reasons he got a problem with Isaiah to this day. The
Mhm.
same thing with LeBron. Here, this kid been on Sports Illustrated since he was a sophomore in high school. When he came to the league, you don't think them grown men was like, well, we about to see what he really about. Same thing with Kobe. Like the great players, they gonna get tested differently than just you come in and you don't have all that fanfare. They want to see if you really about what they make you out to be. And that's all that's going on with Caitlin. These girls,
Mhm.
these women, they like, yo, we've been playing professional basketball long before she got here. Now she get here. Okay, we thankful that we got chartered flights and all that kind of stuff. But as far as competing between these lines, we really need to see, is she about that? Can she really stand up to it? And that's all that's going on. And because I think Caitlin has just been elevated to the status of, she didn't, I don't want to say saved women's basketball, but she's definitely put more eyeballs and more, revenue coming into the sport. They don't like that. But when you really think about it at the end of the day, they probably should be a little bit more grateful because their salary's probably about to go up because they probably gonna get more TV deals, more opportunities to be shown and what they do off of the court, all because she's there. But I don't have a problem with the chippiness that she's experienced right now because guess what? Every other athlete that was supposed to be the next best thing went through it. And guess what? You just the next one in line. It's okay. It ain't it,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
women ain't shading you.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. Like I
competition.
say, you either the best or you're not. And I think I don't even know if Caitlyn wants preferential treatment. I don't really think she wants it. I think she kind of
I think she a
understands.
hooper.
Yeah, I think she understands that, it's some rookie stuff going on. I mean, and that's the reason why I brought up uh um uh the girl from LSU from
Angel Reese. Yeah, yeah.
Angel Reese.
And you saw
That's
what
why I
she
brought
said
up
at her
Angel
press
Reese
conference.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I brought up Angel Reese first, was because she went through that just a week ago, and then they talked about it for a couple of days. Now we're gonna talk about this for a week or two or three, or at
Yeah.
least until Caitlin Clark showed that she's healthy enough to play. So and I get it, we want to take care of the superstar player so that we can continue to reap the benefits of it, but don't water down the league, and you don't try and uh, hamper with the level of play. They play a good brand of basketball, and like I said again, I'm not in favor of any cheap shots or nothing like that. But the trash talking is gonna be there. The competitiveness is gonna be there. You just gotta adjust, and and get your
Hard
game
fouls
up.
gonna be there. Yeah.
Get your
Hard
game up.
screens gonna be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you know, like I say, maybe we can go on day after game one,
Was
but
that
it's been
Friday?
real.
Yeah.
It's been real, Pen. We had a lot of fun tonight. I think this went kind of smooth. So, continue to watch the game. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll see you after game one. And Celtics in 7.
Mavs in 6.